Hello, and welcome to Brand Clarity by Visions2images, where we focus on strategy and business development for entrepreneurs at all different levels through branding and digital marketing techniques. Susie Liberatore is the founder and art director of Visions2images Creative Services, LLC. For the last decade, she has personally been instrumental in bridging gaps between the global digital market and neighborhood locations for some of the biggest brands around. Growth is possible for even a single location with the right professional branding techniques and Susie's signature strategies of Visions2images. Stand out from your competitors and bring your visions to life while watching your sales skyrocket. Your host for this is Susie Liberatore, owner of Visions2images. Hello, everybody. Today on the podcast, I'm actually going to be talking about how to do franchise marketing. We've really niched down over the years, and we've been working more with corporations and franchises. And through that, we've developed a whole new process and strategy behind franchise marketing. Everybody thinks that they have to stay inside the lines a lot of times, or they think that corporate has to give them these guidelines and they have to follow these. Now, granted, some of that might be true, some of that might be false. I don't know. It just depends on your corporation that you have. However, there is a lot more that you can do for your franchise. I've worked with many franchises over the years, and each franchise that's independently owned can really take on a lot of fun and creative things. And the thing about a franchise is we want to make sure that you're unique and you have your own personality, right? It's just like any other kind of marketing and or branding. We want to make sure that you are visible and that people can identify you quickly and easily. They don't want to sit there and say, oh, you're with so-and-so, the big corporation, right? They want to know that person and they want to know that franchise. They know they feel like family when they walk in, right? So how can we market our franchises, right? Is it different from anything else, or is it the same? So I'm going to break down a little bit of these pieces. So first of all is the brand development, finding out the positioning and leadership way to really be in the franchise. And then bringing in prospects and then growth, right? So how do you figure out how you're going to grow your franchise, right? Because a lot of times when you go into a franchise, they have all of these great ways and great tools and great things for you to do. And of course, there's a lot at the beginning of the stages, like figuring out a SWOT analysis that should include leadership as well as business, sales, customer services, marketing, and product development, right? It's like a full picture in a sense, and making sure that you set qualified goals that you want to achieve and prepare a budget, measure success. So those are some quick little things to think about as you kind of go into the franchise world. However, when we kind of talk about marketing for a franchise, I want to dive in deeper. Those kind of terms up above, if you didn't know what they mean, definitely feel free to reach out because I just wanted to touch base on those. But I want to talk about the marketing for your franchise specifically today. So you've heard me say it a million times, and if you haven't, here we go. Consistency. Consistency is key in every business, period. It doesn't matter if you're consistent with your customer service, social media, like all of that stuff needs to be consistent at all times is what I'm getting at. It doesn't matter. You have to be consistent. And I am a big component of being consistent in all of my life, right? I'm consistent with my scheduling, with my son. Like we keep everything on a schedule. We keep everything the same all the time. It's the same way for our businesses, right? We want to keep showing up and we really want to have that consistency. We want to have that. How do we really have that? Well, there's a lot of different ways, right? So first and foremost is really identifying what makes your franchise unique over everybody else. That's first and foremost. And then identifying who your target audience is. Those are the two like up above components. But then as you start to dive in deeper, voice, right? Your voice matters. My voice is always portrayed when I do my podcasts, when I do my blogs, when I do my emails, when I do my social media, when I talk on the phone, like everything is the same and it's consistent. And I'm not talking about the voice that's coming out of my mouth right now. I'm talking about how I put things out there, right? So we must establish the words and phrases that we want to have out there and really kind of have that key messaging for us at all times. So a lot of times you really want to have a lot of good brainstorming in your team, right? So sometimes if you don't know what you want your brand and your messaging to be portrayed as, our brand should make people feel like blank, right? So I want people to feel like they're getting a luxury experience from a full creative agency. Hey, let's stop for just 1 second during this podcast episode. I know you're so excited to get back and listen, but I wanted to chat with you and talk about how we really work with businesses. What we really do is we dive in and we ask so many questions. We go through a series of questionnaires and extensive research to really help you get a clear, identifiable plan of action that needs to happen for your business. If you want to hear more about this, go to visions2images.com, click the contact us button, and we will be happy to set up a time to chat more. Do they have to be expensive? Well, I don't know. It just depends what they need, right? So our brand should make people feel that. And even though you're a franchise, you still need to establish what your specific franchise wants to be known for. I know one franchise specifically that I work with, they are so active in the nonprofit community and the community period that they are in. So understanding that they want to have that local presence and they want to show up is so important for them. So they always are giving back whenever possible. And they're always, doing sales to help give back, because a lot of times they'll do some drives and stuff inside their location. So they're big on that. So understanding what you want your voice to be portrayed at in all of the ways, right? So when we show up on social media, do we want to show up as a professional, like a lawyer, or do we want to show up as somebody more fun, like an e-commerce shop, or do we just want to show up as, here's what I got for you, and more direct, right? So figuring out what your voice and how to use it is so important. The other thing that I kind of have on here is relevant. So they need to be relatable to your target audience and the location you serve, like understanding who your audience is and being able to use that in your marketing, right? So again, it's a position and a tone of how we reflect when we talk to our customers. If you want your customers to feel safe and secure, then you're going to talk to them a little bit different. If you want them to feel excited, it's going to be different, right? Like I said, the lawyer field, they're going to be very direct, quick to the point, and get it done and get it over with, right? And it's a different kind of talk and a conversation than somebody in an interior design store where you're like more laid back and you're more energized and you're more having fun. So you really kind of need to understand what you want that to be and how you can utilize that best. One thing that I always tell people, especially with franchises, is you still need to be unique. You really need to understand who you are as a franchise and understand your personality and your vibe and how you want all of that to be portrayed. So that goes beyond the voice, right? It goes more into content and into graphics, right? So we want to understand, okay, the content has to match with the graphics, but we want to reach a local presence, because a lot of times what I see franchises and or corporations doing is they have their regular marketing going out from corporate saying, okay, here's this, and it's the same stuff that's on everybody else's page, right? How does that differentiate you from anybody else? We don't want them to keep seeing the same stuff, because then it's just like, oh, it's just another blank, you know what I mean? It's just another franchise and they're all posting the same stuff. No, you need to be posting about local communities, local driving, what you're doing, highlighting teams, highlighting customer reviews, highlighting what you're doing inside, like all of the fun little things that make your business and your company unique. Because the last thing somebody wants to see is the same post all over the other different franchises location. And that's also not necessarily good for SEO. I know sometimes we have to do it as franchise and corporate allows, but at the same time, it's going to affect your SEO in the long run, because they're going to have that not show up as much visible into Google. So you really want to have your unique content so that it shows up, because believe it or not, Facebook is a search engine as well. I mean, all social platforms are search engines in their own sense, where if I wanted to search for something, it might come up on their Facebook page first over a Google My Business, right? There's so many ways that Google and SEO work. That's a whole nother topic. But right now, it's understanding that end of it. A lot of times we want to be authentic as well, right? We want to show up and we want to be honest and authentic. The biggest thing I can tell you is, if you want your marketing to work, you have to be authentic and have customer service. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? We can get the phones to ring, anybody can do all of those things, but it really takes a business to really have that customer journey and being authentic. I'm a huge component of being authentic. I actually just got my oil changed and I got my tires rotated, and I got my tires from a different place than where I get my oil changed. And when I first signed the agreement, it was $70 or whatever to get the oil change and the tires balance. And I go, oh, that seems a little cheap. And he goes, yeah, maybe it does. So then when the checkout came, it was $93. And I go, well, how did we jump now? Because you told me, there was something wrong in the system, is what he said originally when the price was $79. And then he looked back and he goes, no, it's supposed to be $79. right? And I mean, the point is I'm an honest person. I thought it was a little bit low because I thought tires cost a little bit more to get them rotated. So we talked it out, and he ended up saying that it was a $79 price because of the fact that their systems weren't matching up. But either way, it was great communication on both of our ends, right? I was making sure that I was honest. I was going to pay the price no matter what, but I knew that I was going to be honest and say, hey, let's look into why this is like this price. And he came back to me saying, yeah, let's look into it. There's a glitch in our systems. They're not matching up. So understanding that authenticity is critical and huge for any business, regardless of what you're doing, if you're a franchise or not, is huge, right? We always want to make sure the customer's happy, and we always want to be communicating. Those are the things that are going to make your marketing drive and increase revenue. I could go into a ton of other stuff like paid media, earned media, shared media, all of these different things. But what I really want you to understand and take away from today is that no matter what franchise you own, you have the right to market and personalize yourself as a franchise to be different and unique. And again, it's so important and it's so critical. I've seen franchises that I've worked with increase 30% within 30 to 60 days, right? Because we changed the way we looked at their social media, because we changed the way we looked at their advertising, we changed and we did a customer journey like analysis to figure out, okay, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? How can we use what corporate gave us and make it our own into something more personalized? So that's kind of where we come in as a marketing agency and branding, a digital marketing agency, if you want to call it, where we really come in and we find those missing pieces that are really going to make you stand out and be unique. So if you are wanting to chat, even just to chat and see, hey, let's get some questions answered. Let's see what's missing in our franchise or in our business. Click the link and let's get a quote. Let's get started. Let's get a consultation. Let's get it going and just chat and see where we can go. Thank you for listening in on this episode today. Please make sure to check out the links from your guest and Visions to Images to learn more about each other. It takes a village, as you know, so connect and grow with one another together. Thank you so much for listening.